Hey Legionnaires, and welcome back! We're here with the Battle of Rivoli today, which is fought in 1797. So we have another historical battlefield today on NTW3. And this is a huge clash between France and the HRE, the Holy Roman Empire, are back once again with their huge horde armies. And will they be able to beat the French this time? We will find out in this historical battle. I am certainly excited for it. I've been holding off on showing Rivoli for a little while, but we are here now with it today. And we actually have a little bit of a clash going on over here with some Trilliers getting ridden down by some of the light dragoons here, it would seem. So that is an easy victory there for the HRE, an early victory as well. It's always good to see for the HRE. They'll be hoping to get that under the belt. But yeah, this is another battle fought in the Italian campaign between the French and the HRE, both vying for power in this region. The HRE holding the power, and Napoleon with his French armies has invaded and is wanting to take the Italian lands of France. And he's got his 8-pounders mounted up here on this hill. A nice little position. I think you don't know what you're trying to take on. Maybe the general over there? I think you might be trying to general snipe. Who knows? But yeah, the French hold a really strong position here. They've got this sort of hill up top here with the little bit of a village around it. Behind that is like another hilltop with another set of guns, and it looks like it's going to be another army here with another village in it. We've got a few like other little villages here. They've got a big open area for their cav right down the middle of this battlefield, which could be an interesting place for the HRE to push, because obviously the cav can't just stand here and just fight against infantry. So infantry support may be needed here to support the centre, otherwise the HRE may just come straight on this road and just split the French army in two. And we have another French army over here set up sort of in a bit more of a flat area again, and it looks like it's going to be facing off against a HRE army that is probably coming through these hills. In this cav here, it looks like it's going to be matching the French cav. Got dragoons, cavalry battalier, chasseurs cheval. That's the sort of cavalry that the French will be bringing today. A lot of that sort of cav. You'll see reproducing another French army here coming out of the woods. So we do have a nice 4v4 here. This is the 4th French army. I presume this one might take up the centre. I don't know. Or maybe this one will actually, because this one's a little bit closer. But yeah, and there are obviously 4 HRE armies, so that's like well over like 15k men for the HRE alone. The French probably bringing about another 8k, so we've got probably around a 24,000 man like battle, maybe a little bit more, who knows. I mean, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting indeed to see how this one goes down. But yeah, if you're enjoying seeing NTW3 on the channel and would like to see some more, do remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and a comment to show your support. As always, guys, it's very much appreciated as we work towards 5k subs. And also, if you want to get involved in some NTW3 battles, whether it's Napoleon, whether it's like historical, I was about to say, whether it's Napoleonic, it's kind of the jam that you get when you play NTW3. It's Napoleonic. But no, if you want to get involved in some historical or custom sort of battles, then do join the Discord. The link's down below in the description. And there you can get involved. You can chat to myself, you can chat to other subs, and you can get involved in some total war action. But as you can see here, it seems like the HRE is starting to appear with more dragoons. Got Uhlans as well. Yeah, sort of surrounding the French. The French seem to be playing the defensive role, and I don't know if I'm a big fan of that. Not spoiling the result, just saying that the French are a much stronger faction, so them on the defensive probably suits them very nicely. I mean, they're probably very confident that they've got to just deal with the HRE marching towards them in their columns. Got the chasseurs here. They're set up nice and ready to go. Everyone in their like sort of revolutionary style uniforms today, as we are fighting in well, we're fighting in the 18th century, just going into the 19th century. So obviously the French still looking very revolutionary. We actually have a little bit of a battle going on out here. What is going on out here? What is going on here? And why can't I see it? It seems apparently there's a fight going on in this building. I'm not really sure if there is, because I would be able to see the French unit that was fighting in it. But don't know what's going on here exactly. But it seems the French, anyway, are isolating a lot of HRE cav here. We've got some hussars and cuirassiers out here. This is a good unit. This is something that I'm hoping that the... it's just flickering in the background. As the HRE probably have the stronger cav, and because they have these cuirassiers. They have another one here as well. Ooh, that is going to be a nasty, nasty force. And I can hear a lot of infantry, a lot of drums going on around here. Yep, here you go. Infantry starting to appear. German infantry. Oh my gosh, yeah. Hungarians. Got the whole lot. The whole multinational army appearing. The general obviously here, Melas. The general who's at Marengo. Whether he's going to have more success in this one, I don't know. This one battle was just after Marengo, I believe, or just before. I can't remember. I think it was one or the other, before or after. But it's very soon after this battle, and we're gonna have a cavalry charge here. We're gonna have some cavalry battalion. Look like they're gonna be fighting some Uhlans now, and this is gonna be the first engagement of the battle, the real proper first one, you could say. Those Trilliers don't count. And the Uhlans there look like they're gonna get routed by the French cavalry. An early victory there for the French, but here we go. We got some more light dragoons coming in. These guys are going to challenge cavalry battalion, but this cavalry battalion is pretty nasty, if I remember. They're going to need a little bit more in the way of cavalry to deal with this. Light dragoons going in and then coming out. I never really see that. Never really see like a charge and then the cavalry retreating. This usually ends badly for the cavalry. There you go. You can see, yeah, light dragoons breaking. More dragoons over here that may have been able to come over and save the day. I mean, there is more hussars here. The French have got a lot of cav out here, actually. Looks like they put, maybe this might be a couple of armies worth of cav. I don't know. Interesting to see. But yeah, this HRE army is kind of pinned in against, well, pinned in against this side of the map. They've not got much room to maneuver with. There's more infantry starting to appear over here. And their long columns are just getting shot as they go by. We've got Grenzer infantry here. Hungarians. They're getting set up and ready to go. Oh, it is exciting to see the big columns. Oh god, this poor infantry getting hit hard. But it's exciting to see the HRE back with their big old columns. I mean, it is always great to see a big old battle with a HRE in it. I mean, the French got a lot of columns set up here. I mean, this is a prime target for the HRE guns to fire. I mean, look how many lines of infantry you could just, like, knock through with your cannonballs. If you could get a good shot there, that's at least 6 or so, like, units that cannonballs got to travel through. This could cause all sorts of havoc. I mean, this is a huge army. Like, I mean, this is a big army. And this is just one HRE army. So, I mean, like, when you see all 4 together, it's a scary sight. A 3-pounder here. Putting some chunks into the French cavalry. And this is obviously going to have to antagonize the French. Either come forward with some cavalry, try and annihilate this this gun, or they're going to have to be forced to retreat. I honestly think they're probably going to go for the former. I think they're going to... This looks like this cavalry battalion here looks like it might be shaping up to go for a charge on this gun. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, most of the infantry, you got to remember as well, for the HRE cannot form square. That is something I will state at the beginning of this battle. The French are a bit more blessed and a lot more of their infantry can. But yeah, the HRE, not many infantry units can form square. This one can. It's a rare unit in their nice blue uniform here. Swal. It's like some German, I don't know. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that German name, but there you go. And what's going on here? Do not know. I mean, this is a charge for the dragoons going on. But I don't know what the HRE cavalry's doing. It's quite happy to retreat. And we've got the big lines of infantry now opening up. I mean, is this a great idea? I don't know. But they're going to charge, fly straight on into the infantry here. And a huge cavalry fight is now taking place on the flank as well. This is a lot of cuirassiers you've got to remember as well. And this cavalry battalion looking rough on morale. The HRE might win this fight, you know. They did. They held strong. I've never really seen that infantry hold strong. This little flank here going quite well. Cavalry losing on this flank here for the French. And chasseurs now going in. Don't know if they really should have. They're now retreating. You can see that the HRE cav is making moves to come across the river as well. And they're going to try and get involved in the fight. It's not a bad idea. Got hussars left. Got some chasseurs and some dragoons. I mean, they're not quite out. They've got some nasty stuff left. If I was the HRE, I wouldn't get too overexcited. But yeah, the HRE cav is making moves to come across the river as well. And they're going to try and get involved in the fight. It's not a bad idea. Got hussars left. Got some dragoons. I mean, they're not quite out. They've got some nasty stuff left. If I was the HRE, I wouldn't get too overexcited. I mean, taking the chasseur out, this should be okay. But they don't want to overextend too much. They've done a good job. Now they just need to start thinking about moving towards the main French army. More HRE carry over here. This is not looking good. This French cav might not be able to get back to its own territory, its own friendly lines. They're still getting hit by guns as well, these hussars. It's a rough one. But while that's been going on, absolutely nothing has been going on over here. Seems like the French are just digging in, and the HRE is still setting up and getting ready to come towards the French lines. There's a lot of French lines. I mean, you can see most of the... I mean, actually, I'm hovering over these units. It's about 50-50 on French units that can form square. Still a lot better off than the HRE, though. HRE, quite happy to chase down this French cav, though. The chasseurs managed to get out of here just about alive. But look at the amount of HRE cav over here. There's a lot. And they are moving quick. I mean, there's light dragoons running. I mean, most of the French cav is walking. That is probably what it's got to do to do it. HRE that desperate to get over here. Here we go. They're going after the dragoons, but the dragoons aren't interested in it at all. Oh, here we go. This could be a bit of a mess. I think these dragoons may have got themselves a little overextended here. Yeah, they broke. The French are breaking as well in some areas. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter because the HRE are going to be able to surround all of this French cav now. Dragoons, hussars, a lot. Going to get broken here. These dragoons need to break. This is the main threat. Dragoons are the scariest thing I think that the French have to offer. They've broken all of that. They need to make sure they route properly. I would say make sure they aren't going to return and cause issues later on. And there you go. Yep, both have been broken. Well done, HRE. Very, very good. And there you go. The HRE win this first flank over here, really. And they've got most of their cav left. What is this? They've still got guns over here. 10-pounder. That's not making it to the battlefield. But yeah, they've got a lot of their cav left. Most of it's really healthy. These cuirassiers are barely untouched, barely touched. They've got another one here as well. Wow, they have a lot of heavy cav out on this flank. If I was the French, I would not be sending out any cavalry over here. I would not be sending out any forces at all, to be honest. There's so much cavalry over here causing a havoc. It seems like the French are going to send out like a little force, a couple of line infantry units and some cavalry going, you know, scout the area. By the looks of it, looks like maybe this force of French might be joining. This is a large army. It's got to be probably 1/4 of the army. Look at this, the HRE scattering all over the place. Looks a bit messy, not gonna lie. But we've got French cav, they're coming in to interrupt this march forward. We've got dragoons coming forward here, coming after some, I don't know, some infantry of some sort. Some German infantry by the looks of it, some variant.
This building has
I don't know if this is a smart idea by the dragoons though. I mean, they are gonna get overwhelmed eventually. There is so much infantry here. All it needs is just 1 or 2 units just to set up, and they need to just put some volleys into them. I mean, they may break this one. I mean, surely the HRE going to turn and just fire one volley, not break this dragoon. But the dragoons broke, and I mean, they did a lot of damage to this infantry unit, but they did not break it. And the more cavalry is arriving. They were just going to scare off that dragoon, but it's not going to be needed. Not going to be needed at all. Instead, the HRE can continue its march. I mean, it looks glorious with the background, like blue sky, mountains, a horde of Holy Roman Empire troops marching forward. Can't ask for much more. Maybe the line battle to start. That would be nice. But I'm going to do a quick cut now, probably until anything happens, unless we're about to see a bit of a cavalry fight over here. I don't think we are. What is that unit? Oh, this is more line infantry. It looked like it was an elite unit, but it was not. But yeah, I'm going to make a quick cut now. I don't think the French are going to do anything too stupid, he says, as the French continue to get closer to this light dragoon unit. Can you form square? I mean, you can. Half of you can. But yeah, I will make a quick cut. I don't think the HRE is going to get engaged this. So I will return to you when some more action begins. And we are back. I mean, not really any action has really gone underway just yet. But the HRE has now basically fully appeared, or one of its armies at least has, maybe two. But the HRE is now here in front of the French. We have had a little bit of a skirmish out here. It looks like the French dragoons, I think they rushed all the way over here to attack these Neapolitan infantry who were trying to garrison, poor Neapolitans, trying to just garrison in this building here. And they weren't allowed. The French tried to harry them, but all the way, like you can see here, literally where the bodies are, they harried them all the way back. And then the light dragoons came in and kind of saved the day. I think these infantry did rout once, but seems like the dragoons will not be returning anyway. And that is it. That is all that's really been going on. There's another big cavalry standoff that looks like it's going to be taking place in the back here. Oh, I hear infantry firing. The French are now firing. A line battle has gone underway. Of sorts. I mean, because the HRE aren't responding. But the French quite happy to take some pot shots. And fair enough to them. There you go. The Battle of Rivoli is underway. And that is going to... looks like the HRE... are they going to start moving forward, maybe? You going to go? Big column is just going to stand here and just take the fire by the looks of it. But as I was saying, there's another big cavalry standoff going on in the back here. This time the French have got some line infantry to support them. Unlike the HRE, they've got no support. But the HRE do have cuirassiers, so I mean that's always a scary thing. And I think they have the more cavalry units here. So I would not be so sure about the French winning this one. I mean, also these most of this is cavalry battaliers, so I mean they should be a fair match, I thought, to cuirassiers. But here we go. Looks like we're about to see a big cavalry fight take place here. Cuirassiers coming in against cavalry battalier. And there you go. Cavalry battalier having a rough start. Oh yeah, morale is taking a massive hit there. Light dragoons going in. More cuirassiers are going up against the heavies. They have broken some hussars here. Of the cavalry battalion. That's a good start. French being broken here though. Chasseurs breaking. And look at that cavalry battalion breaking on both fronts. The French are breaking in this rear here. Infantry obviously coming up supporting in square. But I mean the cavalry ones is beaten here. Yeah, beaten is probably just gonna the HRE cavalry, sorry, is probably just gonna carry on. They're just gonna ignore these two units. Who cares about these two lone units in square? You can now get into the back lines, and there is all sorts that you can take out here. I mean, we've got Chasseurs, the Guard, which are a very nasty unit. I would definitely be trying to take them out. There's more cavalry here. There's guns, obviously. You want to be going for generals, in fact. I mean, I would not be getting too excited with these units here. I'd still be being patient. But you now are in a really good position as the HRE to cause all sorts of havoc. I'll be waiting until I'll be waiting until my other armies here arrive, pinning down a lot of the French. You can see that the infantry are taking an absolute pounding here for the French already. It's a good sign. Good sign if you root for the HRE, for that multinational army. Well, don't blame you. It looks a cool army. But yeah, if I was the HRE now, I'd be taking out things like this. Is an artillery piece up here. This is definitely a good thing you want to be taking out. What have we got here? We've got more French cav that just appears, some chasseurs that need dealing with. But yeah, that's something else I would probably be thinking about. I would want to be doing is as the HREs, just making sure all the cavalry's routed properly. Don't want it coming back and causing you any issues. Yeah, you got Victor Perrin here. He's already thinking, I do not want to be in these back lines. There is far too much cavalry nearby for my liking. I mean, there's still one hussar unit that's defending here. Got sappers. I mean, I would maybe think about putting generals inside buildings if you got the option. There's plenty of French infantry over here that can guard the generals here. I mean, I don't think this is the last place I think the HRE want to be assaulting is here. This is a really nice position for the French. Over here is certainly looking a little bit not weaker, just easy to assault. And you got HRE cavalry going into the back. They're taking out guns. I mean, they have been routed here, these Uhlans. They did charge a square. But this French unit didn't form square in time. And it looks like the dragoons have been broken, though. And this is what I mean. You don't want to get too excited about having so much cavalry in behind. This is a lot of cav in behind. But you got to kind of, I think, Just wait. Go for units like V. 103 here. 58. Can't form square. Allow them to get shot on the front. And also then just charge them in the back. That's what I do. I just time it really well with your infantry. You could cause all sorts of problems here. Yeah, a lot of this infantry actually cannot form square. Also, obviously, generals, like I said, really good targets. So they do a lot of damage to morale. How have you not taken out this gun here? It's just this light dragoon. It's taking forever to get through here and get this gun. I mean, it will eventually. Why is there just a random French infantry unit down here? You're late to the battle. Yes, apart from that, seems like are the French going to respond? They're going to send out one of their few cavalry units left. Yeah, they got some hussars up. They're going to go for this gun. Going to duel with this 5-pounder here. And here we go. This 5-pounder is kind of unsuspecting, and the HRE aren't prepared. They aren't firing.
Our men are running.
I mean, they do now. It's a little late. The hussar's going to take a bit of a pounding. I think they might get the gun, though. It's a bit of a risk having this unit in behind just shooting the gun. The French did break, but so did the gun. The gun may return. I don't know. No, 5 crew left. That's probably it finished. There you go. That's one less gun for the French to worry about. I mean, it's one less cavalry unit for the HRE as well. And they tried another assault over here. I mean, why are they trying? I mean, this French did break. This French unit here did break. But they are charging you in a lot of areas where there's a lot of squares being formed. You just got to assault like over here where the infantry is also engaging the French infantry. Then their French infantry has a hard choice. Do I form square and die to muskets? Or do I not form square and I die to cavalry? That's what the options are. And the French are going to get assaulted head on here by a lot of HRE cavalry. Now, a lot of these units can form square. This is not good, HRE. Stop charging places where there's squares. Charge places where there aren't squares. HRE made a bayonet charge over here, though. We've got grenadiers coming in. Really good charge here. And this could do a lot of damage to the French. Obviously, another way that they can break them really, really quickly. Grenadiers. Yeah, these grenadiers do a lot of damage, and this is causing all sorts of problems here. Do these grenadiers carry on? No, they do. The answer is they do, and they're going into the back, some more infantry here. More units that can't form square. I prefer them if they charge units that could form square, because then at least that gives it an easy job for the cavalry. They broke that one as well. They might break this one. I carry on. Charge this next one. Cause all sorts of havoc, and the French have got some cavalry returning, but oh no, this is infantry. I thought this was cavalry, but the cuirassiers have managed to sort of get into the squares. No, they did not. They did not. I take that back. They did not get into the back of those squares. You can see here, though, the HRE able to attack places where there aren't squares being formed. Obviously, the French trying to use squares to protect those that can't form. Yeah, this Dragoon, I think, is going to get routed. Yeah. But, I mean, you can see over here, Grenadiers causing all sorts of problems for the French. And the real problem will be if the Dragoon, the Grenadiers charge unit that forms square while it is in square, is what I mean. Because that could cause all sorts of issues. But the French getting pushed out of this little, like, I wouldn't call it a choke point, but pass between these two villages here. Good sign. And the HRE just need to keep pressing this French force here. Don't allow it to form squares, and pin down the cavalry. And here you go, more infantry being broken. I would let these grenadiers have a little bit of a rest. They've done their job. Oh, there's a lot of cavalry charging in there. I don't know how many of these guys can form square. Not all of them again. Is the answer. It's kind of a bit of a risk though. I don't like seeing cavalry just charging into areas where squares are being formed. I mean, what else can they really do? I mean, if I was the HRE, I'd start pushing forward over here. See, the French are thinking, let's do a little cheeky flank. The HRE need to push forward. They need to have forces here set up, and then they need to push forward over here as well, just to try and box them in, not allow the French to be able to flank just as easily like that. Some cuirassiers have been broken. I don't think there's any French cav left though for the HRE to worry about. These dragoons here being forced back by more units that can form square. And you can see more French infantry, all of it exclusively being able to form square, being sent back. So you can see the French can see the threat. Yeah, every unit in the back lines is looking like it can form square now. Or most of them can. So, I mean, the cavalry is kind of a little bit redundant. It's going to rely on infantry. And look at this. Infantry charges coming in from the HRE. And this is what you need. Just keep harassing this HRE, this French army over here. Make sure it can't form up properly. And charge it with infantry. And then rear charge with cavalry. Just basic Total War knowledge, really. Just hammer and anvil. It does absolute great stuff for you, really. And you already got another little battle going on here as well. These are some, I think these are sappers, yeah, the French. These guys shouldn't be breaking too hard, but
to the enemy.
they are fighting over 200 men, and there's only 30 of them. I don't know if the odds are really with them, but as you can see, the HRE, they've made great gains early doors. I mean, this is like, there was most of a French army was here. There is like 5 units left. I don't know if that French plays out, but they're certainly reduced in size, put it like that. I mean, the Cav just needs to carry on drawing units out if possible. This Paul Grenier unit is kind of a little bit isolated on its own. It can form square. But the infantry also has got to keep pushing up. It's got to keep supporting the Cav. The French over here, they're trying to do their best. See the horde of HRE infantry now that is preparing. They're going to respond their own volley. And they're going to hit them across the battlefield there. I mean, they got more French infantry pinned down here, and this stuff can form square as well. This is never good. Form square, France. He's better managed it. And they're going to get some nice volleys into some of those cuirasses there. Well, they were until their colleagues broke, their comrades broke. I mean, if I was HRE, I mean, you could obviously farm kills, make sure these units aren't going to return. Don't want these French infantry units returning and being a problem in your back line. We're going to have a bayonet charge, it seems. More line infantry going to go in. And it's not a bad idea. I mean, why not? Bayonet charge them and then charge with cavalry. That's what I would do. Is just bayonet charge your infantry. I mean, they're breaking everything anyway. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, broke that one as well. And that's just that entire French force over here kind of just like annihilated. Now the French are they're actually being aggressive on this flank, as you can see here. They're pushing out a Rivoli, but they're having to be very defensive on the other side. There's just so much cav here, and that might now hurt them on this flank. That they have, well, they got a little bit of cav left. There's some light dragoons here, but they have not got much cav compared to the other side. Whether that will do some damage, I don't know. I don't know if they've got any sort of like grenadiers or anything like that either. That could be pretty handy. They're still battling in this town. How are these sappers fighting on so long? They've killed like 50 guys. Absolute tanks. Yeah, I mean, they're doing a good job. But yeah, as you can see here, they're forming a box of infantry now, the French. They are that scared. But Chasseurs guard of the consul here. Basically the old guard. Having sent in. I mean, these two units just stood here as well. That is friendly fire at its worst. You do not want to stand here in front of your own infantry. They're only going to cause absolute havoc. I mean, the way to get in now would be to go through here. I mean, what is this HRE's cav about to do? It's about to just charge into a square. Get out of there. Get out of there, you fools, light dragoons. Not paying attention. Sneak in and get the back of this gun. Get this 12-pounder here. That's what I'd do. And then I mean, you could get your cav and go all the way around here. Go after all these guns. That's what I would probably be doing. And generals. There are plenty of generals here. There is not enough spots for the French to defend every single way in. There is going to be gaps. And the HRE just need to look for those gaps now in the line to get cavalry in. Cause havoc. It's looking a bit rough for the French. I did not expect it to be this tough. I thought they had really good positions and the better infantry. I mean, in fairness, they are forcing back the HRE on this flank. This is a concern for the HRE. They may want to shift reserves. I mean, they've got a bunch over here that, yep, literally, there is a horde of German infantry right now going in that direction. They're going to need more. They're going to need more. The French aren't out of it yet. They're just being angered, really. It's an early victory, really, for the HRE. I mean, this gun crew needs killing. Can't allow that just to run around. I mean, I'd be looking at generals. I'd be looking at generals seriously and thinking that they are what I want to take out. Assassinate them. It's like dragoons kind of. I mean, this dragoons kind of just going everywhere. Finally goes for the gun crew, which is what it needs to take out, and then.
The entire unit is dead, sir.
I mean, just try and rush for these guns is what I'd say. Take these guns out. I mean, they're in a really nice position. A nice hill. Yep, here in he goes. I mean, sort of in he goes. This this dragoon is far too deep into enemy lines. It's going to break any moment. Yep, just like that. I mean, they did get the crew off the guns temporarily, but it's not really the end of the world. And they didn't even get this artillery crew, which is a shame. The cavalry's kind of losing its momentum now that the French are all bottled up here. I mean, this is a massive unit here. Look at this, 263 men this was. Huge! Oh my gosh, there's still thousands of HRE troops still coming out of the fog, and they are going to cause all sorts of problems for the French. I mean, all you need really is one concentrated bayonet charge in one spot as well. That's a pretty good way for the HRE to break through. They have the numbers. Obviously, they do have the morale of the mouse. They break pretty quickly. But it is certainly one way you can try and break through, which is bayonet charges. The French have very little in reserves. Like, they have a couple of units here in reserves, but not much. Now we just need you to set up, boys. Put a nice volley into the French. That cavalry coming straight through the middle. It is. And they're gonna just charge. They're gonna just sneak away. Oh my gosh, they got murdered. These cuirassiers here charge straight into the French infantry, trying to disguise their charge by merging in with the HRE infantry, and that is going to cause all sorts of problems. I mean, I don't think they're going to break through, but it's certainly disrupted the French lines. That is for sure. HRE now piling on the volleys into the French lines. And here we go. This is a proper line battle. Look how close these two lines are.
Our men are running.
I would not be surprised if the French start to buckle a little bit more. I mean, this is a really good spot for the cavalry. Just to attack this little flank here. Go around the sides here. You just got to keep looking for those gaps. And I mean, most of the French infantry, like I said, now occupied dealing with the hordes that is the HRE. I mean, low morale here. This is a unit I go for. I mean, it seems like they're just going to carry on charging goons and stuff in, try and break through the lines. It's not a bad idea, but charging head on into a musket line is not the way I would do it. I would be trying to be sneaky, trying to like attack the flanks, get in the rear, like they were doing earlier. They were doing lots of good hammer and anvils earlier. HRE did a really good job. Are they pushing forward with the infantry? Looks like they are. We're going to see some bayonet charges. I think this favors more the French. Oh, especially when they get volleys off like that. Look at that! Yeah, I don't know about bayonet charging an entire line like this. I think they're better just like trying to win the musket fight, maybe. I mean, they've got to get point blank range. But it might be worth it. Hussars here, they're going in. Going in after this line infantry here. This can't form squares. Good you to go for. Didn't get charged at all. That might be a sneaky way in. And here you go. You can see infantry coming up to support. This is really good by the HRE. I'm really liking seeing this sort of teamwork between cav and infantry. Trying to really just try and find a hole in the line. As soon as one hole opens up as well for the French, they have to reposition their entire army. It takes a lot of maneuvering. You saw how long it took before. But the HRE are taking a lot of casualties. There are a lot of breaking units here. This is not good. This is not good at all. The French did break here though. Look at that. I mean, they did get another unit up in time. But this is a potential opening right now. It looks like it is to join between two different armies. And you're seeing another unit going to come up here. They're going to charge with the flank of the French here, and they're going to have a lot of morale loss there. Nice little flanking charge. Hussars getting out there while they can. Yeah, another unit breaking. I mean, they're trying to form square to sort of like plug in the gap. I mean, just charge the square with the infantry. It's not a great formation to fight in. French desperately trying to hold back the hordes of the HRE here. Oh my gosh. Absolute chaos. There you go, yep. HRE going on in. They break, unfortunately, to the square. But, I mean, they are causing damage to this French army. The gap in the line here as well. These two are isolating themselves. Chasseurs of the Guard getting themselves a little isolated here. I mean, yeah, you are the Chasseurs of the Guard, but still, you can break very easily if you get rear charged, or even just overwhelmed. I would not put it past you. I mean, you always got these extra units here. You may want to just send them up. French, though, I mean, in a few areas, starting to see a lot of red morale. And that's for musket fights. Obviously, it takes a lot more to get the French to that sort of level and then break them compared to the HRE. The HRE, they'll break, like I said, just look at them funny, and they'll break. Got some, like, Slovakian unit here or something come up. It's a pretty cool unit. 5-pounder as well coming up. Set that up and put some holes into the French lines. Yeah, over here, I mean, there's a whole sort of multicolor of French morale going on right now. This is not good for the French at all. Oh yeah, I mean, they're down to 40 odd guys and they still won't break. Cavalry was the way to do it. I mean, now the time would be to charge with the cavalry. Look at all this, like, this is not an organized army. I mean, look at this, you've got cavalry right here. Charge these units while they're on the march. Harass them. Chasseurs of the Guard might break already. At 96 men, they may break. My morale went right down. We've got more cavalry coming in, so Hussars are back. It's all going on this flank. The other flank, I mean, the French are obviously fighting them, but the HRE just don't have the numbers to be aggressive. This is where the HRE wants to be aggressive. And it is kind of working for them. They are making ground. But every time the circle gets a little tighter, the French form, it's getting harder for the HRE to find space. Like, the French are going to get really tight around Rivoli now. And they're not going to allow any gaps. And I know it's a little bit of a shame, because I think the HRE, they need those little gaps, those little opportunities. To just make it interesting, make it, like, them potentially be able to break through. They've still got a lot of men, yes. Still have lots of men, but they need lots of men to just be able to have a chance against a smaller amount of French. I mean, this is good. Lots of breaking units here. Did break this, the cavalry here, though. But, I mean, a good volley might just about rout these guys. Look how close they are. Yep. They got broken. I mean, you just can't miss at this point. This unit's forming square is going to be in a bit of trouble. I don't think they're going to get out of here alive. Yeah, they're going to charge in. That's it's a rough job for the French there. That unit's just going to go in and just hope that it doesn't die, which is going to look, morale is not good there. Yep, broke instantly. Got some Neapolitans here. They're fighting on hard. Got a bit more cav over here. Got some light dragoons here. They've clearly gone for a little dash across this river. It did not work, it would seem, by looking at the bodies of cavalry. It's a shame that the HRE can't shift troops quickly enough over to this side, because then I'd start to attack this side. Maybe give these French troops something to think about. Got some Lombardy legionnaires. They've got some grenadiers. They at least have those. And the chasseurs of the Guard, I imagine, are pretty good in combat as well. So they've got some pretty good units in combat with the French. I mean, most of their units are pretty good in combat anyway, but they've got even better ones, is what I mean. Like grenadiers, which specialise in. And yeah, I mean, he's getting a bit desperate over here. They're really out of space for all these infantry. I think it was a little early from the French really to push back. Like, they're still retreating. Oh no, it's just going to reform. Oh, we got a big street fight going on. And the Grenadiers are lying in here. There are some other Grenadiers dotted around there. I mean, they are fighting German Grenadiers, which is obviously probably in favour of the French Grenadiers. I mean, I'd say. It's a brutal fight. What we got down here? Grenadiers line looking a bit rough though. As are the German grenadiers, actually. So, I mean, that says nothing. German grenadiers did, in fact, break. And we've got more line infantry over here that is now involved. There's a lot of Hungarians being thrown in. I think there's a lot of French infantry just generally in here. And now we've got line infantry being aggressive here on the flank of these Hungarians. Going in for a bit of a push. See, the French are setting up a bit of a defense on this flank as well. There is still some cavalry dotted around. I mean, are they going to try and harass? I don't know. It looks like they're going to try and harass these units they set up. French looking a little rough on morale. Might be okay, though. The form square, though, stop these light dragoons in their tracks, as like they just have every single time. So frustrating if you're playing with HRE. You just can't deal with the squares, really. I mean, they've broken a lot of infantry here, though. They're losing some of their own. They actually sent in some of these dragoons, by the looks of it, going into the flanks, going deep into the city, causing havoc. I mean, not a bad idea, but I don't know how well they're really doing a street fight here with cavalry. Now got the chasseurs of the guard in here. I expect them to be joining the fight not too far in the future, and these guys should do pretty well in this close confined area, I would have thought. One cannon down this street, though, they can do all sorts of damage. One cannonball down that street can do a lot of damage right now. Yeah, as you can see, look at this. The battle is really intensifying now. Lots and lots of infantry being committed. I mean, are they firing in these back lines? They are. They're just going to shoot into those back lines. You need to hold fire. Just don't need to have these extra troops firing in the back lines. Just going to shoot your own men. You can see all the dead that back here. I'm pretty sure there's just friendly fire. Stop shooting your own men. It doesn't help. The French chasseurs, though, are looking a little. They're losing slightly. The morale's looking a bit rough. Maybe this is going to be the way in. There's still a French unit just dotted over here. Get these line infantry back in. I mean, they probably broke and returned. Get them back. Need them in there. Do a little flank on the HRE. Looks like those dragoons finally gave up the ghost. But so did the chasseurs of the guard. And that's a big win. And look at this. I mean, they kind of hold the street now to the HRE. They can just go straight down this street if they want to. And you can see General's Perrin, he's shaking in his boots. He's running for the hills. He's going for a building. I don't blame him. And they're not going to give up on the HRE. They're going to carry on. Not slacking. They're kind of losing over here as well a little bit. Only a little bit. I think they'll hold. I think most of the front lines are going to hold pretty well for the French. I can't really see the HRE being able to push through on every front. This might be an area, though, of interest. I mean, there's a lot of infantry stacked up here. They could just go... this gun would be a good spot to try and break through. I mean, there's a lot of infantry right now getting hit. Here you go. German infantry pushing forward. I'm kind of interested to see whether they go for it. I mean, this infantry is pretty banged up as well. It'd certainly be, like I said, of an interest to try and push in this area. Got cavalry going up on the flank. This is a healthy unit of cav as well. Dragoons, 73 men. Get in behind and go for these guns. That's what I say. Go in, get in behind. Last thing the French need right now is be turning units around in this brutal front line to deal with cav in the back lines. HRE are doing really well. Really, really well. I'm very impressed by the performance. As long as they remember just not to shoot their own men in the backs, then I'm happy. These Grenzers here are ready to go. And Croatian Grenzers here. Croats. We're out in some units here. That's good to see. The gap in the line. I mean, this is every time you see a gap in the line as HRE, you've got to be thinking, it's a chance to get through. And look at this. Yeah, the Germans getting really close now. They actually sent in a little unit of dragoons here. I think they're trying, I don't know what they really tried, but they tried something. And you've got dragoons going into the backs here. I don't know if this is really the smartest of moves. They're winning though. They're causing havoc. You know, they're breaking units here. I still don't know if this is the greatest spot to go for. I'm thinking if we can still go for some artillery, some generals. They're getting shot in the face here, though, the dragoons. That's not a good
Our
look.
men are running.
They did break those line infantry there, though, and look how close the Hungarians. Oh no, these aren't Hungarians. These are Wallachians. They're getting close. It's like Romanians then. They're gonna get point blank range. Put a volley into them. The dragoons are gonna break. Just put a volley into these boys right now. You break them. Hurry! Oh, maybe not. They still kind of hold the hill, the French. They've got a nice little position. I think you just need to push up this hill. These guys had like no morale. They should have just pushed up that hill. Look at that train of retreating French. There's actually some French returning. What is going on there? Chasseurs
Our
returning.
men are running, sir.
Well, that's not good. I can hear some more melee going on somewhere. Oh, down here. No surprises. Wow, more French breaking and HRE, obviously. Big HRE units breaking. I mean, this is still a good flank here that I'd be wanting to push. Anywhere, like I said, with French low morale, that's a good spot. That's a place that you want to be breaking through. More breaking French. It's looking pretty rough for the French, and they've got small units over here. Perrin's actually in the front line. He's dismounted. He may have to go into combat. This is not looking good here at all. Like, the sheer amount of, like, HRE is just horrific. These Croatians here eventually will break through. There's just, well, there's like 150 of them, and there's probably 150 French just standing in front of them. Yep, broken that one. I'd be forming column, and I'd be getting around this gap now.
Must rest a while.
French looking rough. Rivoli. I'm pretty sure Rivoli was a French victory in history as well, so I mean, we may be about to see history change here. Legion Polonaise, we've got like some Polish unit here. They're getting stabbed up by the Uhlans, which is the Poles' favourite unit. And yeah, look at this, they've taken this hill, which had French infantry on it not 2 minutes ago. You can see the German infantry and the Wallachians are moving on. They are ready. This flank here of the French is going to have to turn. They're in trouble. Oh, and that's a lot of breaking French here. I mean, this is a lot of breaking French. They're still battling over this village. I really like that they are. It's always nice to see, like, units fight over a village. Napoleon, he'll be shaking his boots. I know he's not here today. He'll be shaking his boots. And you've got Grenzer infantry going in against, I don't know what the French have thrown in here. They've actually got a general in here. They have Reniers in here. Oh, and they also have some infantry. That's good. Paul Grenier infantry in there. That's good at least. French just throwing in like a tiny little unit of infantry there, trying to slow down the HRE. But I mean, you can see these units breaking even before they're getting into combat. That's not a good sign. I mean, I'll be putting volleys into these guys as they retreat now. They're abandoning this building. I don't know if that was a smart idea, because it's going to be hard to get them out. Like, when the HRE occupied, it'll be hard to get them out. Lombard Grenadiers being broken as well. That's a bad sign. It's not looking good for the French in any sector right now. I mean, this is the only sector that I kind of have hope in them, but they're getting pressured now by other sides. And a general's been killed. I presume this is going to be Renier. Yeah, Renier's been killed in this building over here. Well, that's not a good sign. I don't know how much of his army he had left, but even still, morale is not going to be good. And I presume that is, yeah, this building here. So they've put units straight into this building. So they've got some Croatians in there. And they're going to, look at this, the Croatians can just pour fire down onto the line infantry below. That is brutal. And the line infantry has the choice of, let's charge the building, which is obviously a risky business, or retreat. You got Moreo here, who's also on foot. He may want to think about getting out of here. Well, there's many ways they can get out.
Our men are running.
Got an 8-pounder here that's now on the front line. That's trying to put some, I presume, canister into these units. I'd start thinking about canister. The HRE is far too close. Yeah, that line infantry broke, getting shot overhead, and the French come for a big push here with infantry. And it's a big push. It's only about 3 units, and they're all pretty depleted. I bet they're wishing they had some cavalry now, the French. More pushing over here as well. Look at this.
Our men
French being
running,
routed,
sir.
and that's the entire flank is now gone, and the HRE can kind of fully unite this encirclement. And what an encirclement it is. I mean, there's a good 10 or so French units still in here. The rest are breaking. The French trying to desperately break their way out, throwing infantry in against this like Hungarian infantry, and some more militia sort of like units here. It's not looking good though. I've got a smile on my face because I like to see the HRE do well. They're always an underdog in my eyes. Light infantry struggling here. Chasseurs, they're going to be in the combat soon. I mean, these chasseurs should do pretty well in range, like combat. Like they're going to probably be racking up the kills, but they will not be getting kills now in melee. And you got some Hungarian grenadiers that have been saved. I'm so glad that the HRE saved these units. I mean, they can just charge into the flank of the chasseurs now, do all sorts of havoc. Chasseurs breaking just because of the Hungarians going by. And yeah, I mean, they're still battling over this building here. Well done to the French. I mean, fair enough. You've done well. They're not giving up any ground if they don't have to. But these sappers are fighting an entire army alone. Some Freikorps here just being
Our men are
too
running,
much
sir.
for them. It seems like they lost this building here as well. Yes, yeah, line infantry just got kicked out. I don't know really what went in. Something went in. But that is basically the battle. The French surrounded and have been brutally murdered at Rivoli today. What a battle. What a battle. Another general's been killed. I presume that might be Moreau. I don't know. Could be any of them. We haven't seen them all be murdered yet. Yeah, one. I think that might be Moreau. He was in this area. They've routed him. I think there's just like a couple of like isolated units over here. I mean, they can still do some damage to the French. That's the thing. Like their volleys are going to be nasty. And the morale of the HRE is still like terrible, but they have managed to rout that unit. Some more units just down here, just isolated. But that's really the battle. That is the Battle of Rivoli. I mean, it went all according to plan for the HRE. They won the cavalry fight. They got cavalry in behind. They managed to like take out a good chunk of the French army over here, which I think was really decisive. Doing a lot of hammer and anvil and tactics, which is really, really good. Over here, there's then the brutal encirclement. I thought this was where they were doomed. You can see the line, the bodies on this battlefield. Insane. All fought really over just the town of Rivoli. And I mean, yeah, this is as soon as the French just tightened their defense, I thought there's no way the HRE getting through. They're just going to face a wall of French fire. And that's going to be it. They're just going to charge eventually and they'll get broken. But no, they managed to find ways through. And in the end, it was just too much for the French. I mean, this was a really decisive area here. This fight here to decide the town, like certainly this bottom of the town, allowed, like, there was a good access point then for the HRE just to keep pouring troops in. And the French just couldn't seem to bottle this area up. And then eventually, there was just a death blow from over here, which really just doomed the French, really. And it was a really good fight. I mean, I guess the French, all they could have done differently is maybe win the cavalry fight. I mean, they just had to win that cavalry fight. It was just something that I'm not saying it was what they did wrong. It's just what, in the end, just kind of what decided it, really. I feel like as soon as the HRE had the domination in that cavalry, they just, it was just too much. Another general getting murdered there. Don't know whose that was, but yep, don't know who that was exactly. That's just been murdered as he's running away, but someone has been murdered. And yeah, we're just kind of really waiting for the French to break. I think there's just like one unit of line infantry in here. Everything else is broken. Everything else. Oh, there's another unit here as well. We've got some chasseurs. They should probably break pretty quickly. I think the HRE is just not slowing down. He's going to just carry on charging. And fair play to him. But yeah, I think this has been a really good fight. I mean, it shows to players as well how to play the HRE. And you've got to win that cav fight is the answer. You've got to win that cav fight. If you can't win that cav fight, your numbers of infantry are likely going to matter. They may matter, but it's unlikely. We've got generals now going in. There you go. That's the final French unit broken. And that is going to be a victory for the HRE and a defeat for the French. I believe history has been changed. Rivoli was a French victory, if I remember correctly. But there you go. A defeat for the French. This is very rare to see, especially over the HRE. But yeah, this one was sent in by Johnny the Buffoon, who was playing as one of the French armies. Fair play to him for sending it in. It was a defeat. A lot of people don't send in defeats, but it was a really good battle, and it was definitely worth showing off. But yeah, well done to him, to History Buff Gaming, Andrew Yang, and Sniper Smith. They all did a really good job. I mean, like, Sniper Smith, they're getting over 2,000 kills. Andrew Yang only over 800. I presume he may be in the army that was getting hammer and anvil a lot. I don't know. But, I mean, all the French did really well. All got really good kills. I mean, most of them getting more than the HRE. But yeah, I mean, look at the size of these HRE armies. 3,000, 4,000, 3,000, 4,000. Just insane. But yeah, well done to Miracle, to Flux, to Elon Musket, and to Nash, who are all playing as the HRE, and they did a really good job. I mean, we've got some good players on the HRE side, and that's what the HRE needs: good players, good coordination, and you've got a chance, just like every other faction. But yeah, I mean, we'll quickly overgo some of these kills. I mean, you got Paul Grenier here with 267, Grenadiers of the Legion Lombard 172. But yeah, some really good kills there for the French. Obviously, they did have hordes of infantry to gun down. But yeah, it was just not to be enough, unfortunately, today. But if you enjoyed, do remember to leave a like, subscribe to me around here, and a comment to show your support, as always, guys. And until next time, I will see you in the next NTW3 battle. Until then,